Hi friends, welcome to classes by Lab Doctor. In today's class, let us discuss in brief about anticoagulation therapy. You would have seen many patients who have developed stroke or having some heart problems, who are having prosthetic heart valves, who are having atrial fibrillation, deep vein thrombosis in the veins of the limbs, etc. The doctors put them on certain medicines. So we tell the patient these are blood thinners. So basically these are anticoagulants. So anticoagulants are medicines which will prevent the blood from clotting. Okay, so in deep vein thrombosis or in case of this cardiac valves, etc., because of the friction, because of the injury, there is a chance of developing this clots. So to avoid such clot formation and to prevent the risk of developing complication like stroke, gangrene, etc., doctors put them on these medicines. These are called as anticoagulants. That is, those which prevents the coagulation against coagulations. So, the anticoagulation therapy. This anticoagulation can be for a short term or it can also be for a long term. So the most common anticoagulants are your warfarin, your heparin, epixaban, dabigatran, etc. So these anticoagulants, they are usually put on those patients who are at risk of developing this clots. Okay, so one of the most common anticoagulant is your warfarin or coumadin. Okay, this is the oldest anticoagulant and it has been used over 50 years. And how this warfarin acts? It blocks vitamin K. And vitamin K is important for the function of the clotting factors 2, 7, 9, 10. So when they are not there, the clot is not formed properly. Okay, so that is why it will prevent the clotting. Okay, so warfarin is the inhibitor of vitamin K. So when it blocks vitamin K, the vitamin K dependent factors are blocked, hence clotting is blocked, hence the clot formation is stopped. So warfarin requires frequent monitoring because it has a very narrow therapeutic window. Okay, so it has to be monitored very closely and the range of that has to be maintained in a safe therapeutic range so that the patient doesn't bleed. Second most commonly used anticoagulant is heparin. Okay, this is an injectable anticoagulant. You can either administer it intravenously or subcutaneously as per the patient's need. Okay, heparin has a very rapid onset of action, but it doesn't have a long lasting effect. So we have to give it regularly so that the treatment will be effective. Nowadays, we have what is called as the direct oral anticoagulants. Okay, so they are called as direct oral anticoagulants, your epixaban, dabigatran, etc. So these medication, they work by directly targeting the clotting factors. Okay, so rather than going and blocking the vitamin K dependent pathway, etc., like how the warfarin does, these direct oral anticoagulants directly go and target the clotting factors. And the newer anticoagulants, they do not require frequent monitoring, etc. So they are more user friendly, also more predictable, also their effects are more predictable and comparatively much more safer, yes, costlier also. This is how the various anticoagulants act. So here you can see that your epixaban or edoxaban, etc., they will block this factor 10. So you can see here dabigatran, it directly blocks the thrombin. Okay, so when they directly block these factors, they will prevent your coagulation or the clot formation. So what are the benefits of this anticoagulant therapy? So I've told you, especially people who are at risk of developing the clots, they are having atrial fibrillation, etc. So if there is an atrial fibrillation, a clot may be just thrown away, and it can reach your brain blood vessels and it can cause stroke. So we do not want that clot to be formed in the first place. So in such patients who are at risk, this anticoagulant will reduce the risk of complication of stroke, complication of heart attack, etc. Okay, so in patients with atrial fibrillation, to prevent the stroke, patients suffering from deep vein thrombosis, to prevent this pulmonary embolism, etc., to reduce the chances of heart attack and death from that. In patients who are having mechanical heart valves, or they're having a clotting problem, they will reduce the chance of this blood clot. And in some problems, like patients who are on medical procedures such as dialysis, patients who are catheterized after surgery, sometimes after childbirth or a trauma, to reduce the chances of this clot formation, we put this anticoagulants. So there are certain risks also, because they are stopping the clot formation. So if it is not monitored, if it is not put in a proper way, if it is not frequently, if we don't check on these values or numbers, there are certain risks also. So what is the most common risk? It is bleeding, because there is no clot formation, there is anticoagulation. So there is no clot formation, and patients has a risk of bleeding, which can be a minor bleed to a life-threatening bleed. Okay, it can be an internal hemorrhage also. When used for an extended period of time, anticoagulant can cause reduction in the RBC cells and in the RBCs, and that can lead to anemia. These anticoagulants, they can interact with other medicines, herbal preparations, your vitamins, etc., and it can increase the risk of side effects. Sometimes, because patients who are on these anticoagulants, when you take these injectables, etc., they have bruising, skin discoloration, etc., and some develop allergic reaction to this anticoagulant medication. So these are the risks of anticoagulation therapy. Major one is the bleeding, drug interaction, patient can develop anemia, patient can develop skin discolorations, patient can have allergic reaction. Sometimes patients have nausea also, sometimes patients have vomiting, they have headache and dizziness, lightheadedness also, because effect on their blood pressure also. Sometimes they bleed profusely from minor cuts, bruises, they might have nosebleeds, serious internal bleeds also. The same thing is explained in this slide. Whenever a patient is on anticoagulant therapy, there are few things which you should know. One is, you should always discuss with your doctor. You have to discuss with your doctor about what are your medications that you are taking, including whatever supplements, herbal medicines, Ayurvedic preparation, homeopathic preparation, whatever supplements, etc., what you are taking, that has to be clearly mentioned to your doctor, so that there are many such preparations which interact with these anticoagulants, and they can have a bad effect. So always discuss about the medications which you are taking for whatever reason. Always get a blood test and have regular checkups and monitoring. So nowadays you have your home kits, etc., to check your PT, INR, etc. So you can monitor it with these instruments. They are very handy, they are budget friendly also, and you can regularly monitor them. It is very important that we monitor this, because these medicines have to be in a safe yet effective therapeutic range. So suppose if we are not monitoring, we might end up in causing more damage. So it has to be monitored regularly. Okay, so either you can do it at your home, or you can go to a nearby lab and get it checked. Whatever instruction is given by the doctor, that has to be followed correctly. So it could be diet, it could be exercise, it could be lifestyle changes. All these things have to be followed as instructed by the doctor. Sometimes patient forget to take the medicines, they don't take it for few days, or they abruptly stop the medicines. Such things should not happen. Exercise, sometimes patient, they are on warfarin, they do certain heavy exercise, or they have a risk of injury, so such exercise should be avoided. Your lifestyle also will matter, your diet will matter. I have told you few of the vegetables like spinach, etc., your cranberry juice, etc., that can also interfere with these medicines. So you have to pay attention to all this and also follow the instructions of your doctor in regards to the diet, your lifestyle, etc. Okay, suppose you are having peptic ulcer, etc., there is an increased risk of bleeding. Okay, so such things have to be brought to the notice of the doctor. You are having a very active ulcer, etc., in your stomach. This has to be discussed with your doctor, and we will have to work out how we can treat both of these conditions without causing damage. So monitor for the signs. Know or be aware of signs of bleeding. It could be nosebleed, or it could be easy bruising, it could be gum bleeding, or other signs where you have to be careful, and immediately you will have to report to your doctor. So such knowledge is also important, so that you can get help at that time when it is actually required. Avoid activities that increase the risk of injury. I've told you certain contact sports, etc., or sports which involve sharp objects, etc., it's always better to avoid. And eat a very healthy diet, have a balanced diet. You need vegetables, you need fruits, you need carbohydrate, proteins, good fat, etc. Certain dietary factors, like as I've told you, your certain vegetables or certain juices, your junk food, processed food, etc., such things also have to be avoided. Monitor for the signs of thrombosis also, just not the signs of bleeding, for even for the signs of thrombosis or blood clots, like you have a chest pain, you are having severe headache, you are having giddiness, lightheadedness. You should report all such symptoms to your doctor. Follow the dietary guidelines which is provided by your doctor, because certain food can interact with your anticoagulant medicines, as I've discussed. It could be spinach, or it could be your cranberry juice, etc. Do not stop these medications on your own without speaking to your doctor. That is also very important, because I have told you that this has to be in a particular therapeutic range to achieve our goal of maintaining anticoagulation. So you have to take this medicines religiously as told by your doctor. So do not skip the medicines on your own. So how much is the cost of this anticoagulation therapy? So generally these anticoagulant medications such as Warfarin or Heparin, they can range from 1000 to 2500 to 3000 rupees, whereas a newer anticoagulant like Epixaban, etc., their cost might vary, and you might have anything from 2000 to 10,000 per month, depending upon the medications what your doctor has advice. Specifically what to eat during this anticoagulant therapy. One is, I have told you, you have to eat a balanced diet. Take food which is rich in fibers such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, etc. That will risk the development of blood clots also. You have omega-3 fatty acids, it can be nuts, it can be fatty fishes like salmon, etc. They will reduce your inflammation, they will improve your circulation, also reduce the risk of clot formation. You have to limit salt, saturated fat, extra sugar, so that the risk of clot formation comes down. Lean proteins, chicken, etc., you have to consume. Seeds, legumes should be included in your diet. And you also have to keep yourself well hydrated. Certain food like spinach or your cranberry or etc., they interfere, and your doctor will specifically mention which are the foods you have to avoid when you are put on these medicines. So remember, this anticoagulant therapy is generally considered very safe, and we have been using it for many years. Doctors monitor this thoroughly, and they always see that they put this medicine in a very effective as well as safe therapeutic range. For that, patients have to be monitored regularly. Okay, it is not a very painful process also, and the amount of time what you take to recover from this anticoagulant therapy depends on the type of therapy that is being used, what is your condition, for how long it is being used. So there are many factors which will determine this, but yes, it's a safe procedure, life-saving procedure, provided it is monitored by your doctor and safely put in the therapeutic range, because because it does have its side effects of bleeding, etc., because of its property of anticoagulation. So that was all about anticoagulant therapy. The most commonly used drug, many of the patients we see, they are put on these blood thinners. So many times this question comes, what should do, how we should monitor, what are the risks, etc. So this was in brief about the anticoagulant therapy. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you.